Charities have been trying to help Africa for most of our lives. We hear about the success of these projects, but we never see a permanent and solid change in the continent as a whole. I'd never been to Africa, let alone outside of the Western world before I started this journey. I had a yearning to see how people lived outside of my comfortable home. On a personal level, though, I wanted to learn more about happiness. I was joining a team of Americans brought together by Think Kindness with the intention of traveling to the Nyeri orphanage outside Nyeri, Kenya, to distribute shoes, school supplies, and to interact with the kids. This was part of Think Kindness Global Act of Kindness, a yearly event built upon the generosity of high school students throughout the United States. My name is Matt Schultz. I'm the director, although I think I'm kind of just another guy with a camera. I lost my job in 2009 and decided it was time to escape commercial production and maybe try to make a positive influence on the world. I was accompanied by a mix of teachers and students, a lawyer, a musician, and our small production crew. We all came from different stages in life and, at the beginning, with different intentions and parts to play. In the end, though, I guess we were playing our part in the charity train that Kenya depends on. We were the Americans with the supplies and the money and the filmmakers to cover the poor and heart-wrenching conditions that these kids live in. Or maybe we were just regular people doing something very simple with the hope that we could put a smile on a child's face. A pair of shoes seemed like such a meager gesture. Who knew that it would matter so much? Maybe it's naive to say, but I thought documenting the story might change things. Maybe intrigued by the different kind of images we brought back, we would inspire a small group of great thinkers to find a better answer. The developing world can be a pretty intimidating sight at first glance. Dirt roads cluttered with trash, makeshift roadside markets selling a mix of donated t-shirts and shoes made from old tires. I've never been to an orphanage, let alone one in the heart of Africa. As we approached Tumaini, I think we were all concerned about being outsiders. These kids have had it rough. As we spoke with the kids, I learned that they each dealt with a serious past. Each and every one had a sad story, a terrible event, or an intimate relationship with tragedy.
Basically, my dad died a long time ago, and I think my mom, it's the financial problem, and she wasn't able to raise us. I have a brother, he's in college right now, and a sister who lives at Nairobi. She was adopted by an aunt, and my mom left us. She didn't kill us as most mothers would do, but she notified one of her friends and we were taken. And I was born 1992. We stayed with my father for 3 months. Then they divorced with my mother. We had to move from that place and then go to settle in another place. Where we settled, it was in an urban area. My mother was working in selling beer. And then when it comes to 2002, she got sick and she died. I went back to my grandmother. That's when now just see that my life has changed like that. Like I don't know where to live, I don't know what, because it is a new life. I'm staying with my grandmother, I'm used to stay with my mother. So it was very difficult to understand her, and it was very difficult for her to understand me. So I found that was a difficult time. Then from there, it's when I stayed with my grandmother for 3 years, and then I joined the orphanage where I am now.
I joined this place when I was in primary school in Stad 6. I was not that small. My grandmother had been looking for it, and since she got the opportunity, I was brought here because my mother had passed in 2001.
Yeah, I came here when I was joining my Form 1. Up to now, I came to ask whether I can be taken here. They took me and they accepted me already without coming with anything of mine. I just came. Yeah, they helped me with everything, the basics needs. And so now I'm just continuing my education. I'm trying to do better.
For the kids, Tumaini is a beacon of hope. It's a place where they know they'll eat a next meal and have a place to sleep for the night. It's a nurturing home, something that most of these kids have never experienced before coming here.
It is not easy in any way. It's a big challenge. These children come from very different backgrounds. And I don't even compare it to a school. Because in school they are laid down policies on how to deal with children. But here, we are a church, we are mothers, we are grandparents. We really have to nurture these children, and we deal with them slightly different. And sometimes it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Because at first I thought, because I'm also a parent, I'm a mother of 3, I thought it was just like my children. But when I started working with these children, I found there's a difference, because most of them are orphans and they have so many problems that most of them are traumatized, and to cope with them you have to be very careful.
Yeah, in faith I have, because for me I didn't will to come to school, to go to school. I start on this way. My mother was very sick. And then I didn't like to see how she is suffering. I ran away. Even I didn't know where I'm going. I just walk on the road because I was too small. Another woman came to me, and then I told her that I was lost, because I didn't know that the way I came. Then she took me. After there, I stay about a month. After there, I go to that my aunt. Then she take me to a nursery school. From that there, she started treating me like a child labor. And then I ran away again. Yeah. And this time I was sitting down like this, I say, what if I was called to do a job? I don't know to write my name or to sign something. Yeah.
I was small, and I just said, she said she will come for us, so let me wait. And we wait. The first Wednesday, second Wednesday, she wasn't there. And the people we lived around with, they used to give us food until her friend came. I called her my aunt, because she was so nice and to us. But when finally Shuguka, that is Reverend Muindi, he accepted us, I said that was the past. Now I have a bright future.
It's almost impossible to relate to the problems that these children have faced, especially at such a young age.
I think it's because of the hard situations in Kenya. Kids, they don't realize that what situation they're going through, how hard it is to get something like food, as simple as food, and get them into education. But as the children grow up, they start realizing, because most of the parents, they are not able to provide for the children. So as they grow, it's stuck in their minds that they are the ones who are to help the children. So happy moments, they tend to be less.
Yeah.
And just sad moments, they start arriving.
Yes, but you see, when they come here, this is a refuge for them. And so they are able to find love here. They're able to find people who are concerned with them. Because before a child comes here, we make a home visit. And some of them come from very, very desperate homes or environments. So when a child comes here and is also able to identify with others of similar background, I think that also makes them more comfortable. And the fact that they know that they'll get the next meal. Because when they're out there, they don't know where the next meal is going to come from. They have so many fears, but once they are here, their fears are reduced. So I believe that is why they have a big smile. Yes, knowing that there are people who love them, there are people who care for them. I think basically that is what is important.
If it is a family of a few people, there is nobody who is caring about you. Someone is thinking about his or herself. But here, people care about others.
Yeah.
And I really love them because actually they care for me.
I guess now would be the time to throw out all my preconceived notions. The kids were happy, and while our arrival made them smile from ear to ear, it was clear that the roots of happiness were already there.
Most of them, they trust adults so much. So, like when they look at you, and maybe they think you have come here because you want to help them, so they can put their trust in you. Most of them were hopeless, though now they have some hope. So they are always looking for somebody who can give them hope. So that's why they look at you and you see as if they have that trust.
Yeah.
Well, Tumaini, I would say, is an important place, especially for the children, because this is a home where we want to give children hope. Tumaini means hope.
I started to think that, with all the corruption and problems that this country is plagued with, can you put the concerns of the children last? This is a group that can't speak for themselves. They are a silent demographic, yet they are the ones who inherit a dark and harsh future. The truth was, there were people who cared, and they are actively trying to help this situation. Unlike the charities that provide the financial assistance and supplies, these people offered their skills and their time, and kept their presence unpublicized. Although we provided some resources, it was these people that kept Tumaini running.
Yeah, I don't get payment for this.
Yeah.
I do it off time. Many of the times, actually even people allowed here wonder what I do, because I keep on coming to church and out. During the holidays, most of the times I was spent with these children. And I remember when they started boarding, they were not always boarding in the dormitory. We started the Tumaini Children's Home, started in those wooden buildings. They would come in and they would be fed, and they would go back to wherever they were staying. And then we as a church asked ourselves, were we doing the right thing? Where do they go when we set them after they have taken the lunch and they have gone home? Where are they spending? And then God helped us to put up the dormitory. Of course, not all of them wanted to again be withdrawn from their relatives and to come and stay in the dormitories. There was a time I had a one-on-one on all the children that were going now to come in and stay in the dormitory. And I helped them realize the benefits that they were going to get. And most of them now, those who started, they are either in the final year in their college, or there are some that are working. And we did it not like a teacher and student, but we did it like friends.
What I noticed was these people didn't pity the children or believe that the kids were a lost cause. They all hoped and believed that the children would go on to achieve their dreams. They had them focus on schoolwork as much as possible because, much like we do at home, they knew that education was the key to their future.
I started off by saying I'm a teacher. And what makes me happy is when I find that a child comes here and we are able to change that child positively, so that that child is able to learn, is able to get shelter, and also pass the examinations. Although I've only been here this year, but I believe that if we in Tumaini are able to change the life of a child for better, I think that is why I would say I would be happy. Yes, yeah. If I see a child succeeding, a child being successful, both in academics, as well as in life in general. That is what would make me happy.
So when we see children growing, going to school, going to the secondary school, and also you have got money to take them to school, and also you have got food to cater for them, you feel very happy. Because when you don't have food for these children, then here they are, and they have nobody to, to give them love. They are orphans. So it is, to be gloomy. It is for you to show them there is life even after death. So you cannot be gloomy when you have got these children. So you have to show them the love. You have to show them there is joy in everything.
Well, my happiness is when these children are here, and maybe like when they come here, they look so hopeless. They look so helpless. Then after some time you see they have something growing in them. They are starting to develop some hope, and at least you get happy because you see there's the old child is coming out of the child, and now she's starting to have hope for the future. And when you see that a child have accomplished the goal, that is when you feel happy. Like now, when we see some of the older students who have gone through their secondary schools, if they don't go to the colleges, maybe like they have planned to, you feel you have not accomplished your goal, and that way you don't feel happy, but you feel happy when you see them getting successful. Yeah,
I think it is just a calling. From long time I had this urge to start up a place where I could take care of children. And when I came to this church that is offering children a place, I realized the many times I leaned on my parents to get what I got in order to grow up. And I was imagining that these are children like I was, and they have nobody to lean to. And I was there, available. I didn't always teach in the school next year. I used to travel to another school to teach. And then when the main reason that made me to transfer from the school to this one is so that I could have more time with the children. I also went to learn counseling, and with the knowledge that I have not used it mostly for earning money, but mostly to assist the children here. And one thing that makes me feel fulfilled is when I see a child who has come in and is desperate and has gone through a story that is too bad. If I'm able to bring them and help them grow out of the situation. Although sometimes I don't manage to get through to them, but those that have related with me in a very special way and have made them to feel wanted, feel loved, and to feel that there is always somebody they can lean on to, I have enjoyed to see them put a smile, and that gives me joy.
I always looked up to my teachers, and most children look up to their teachers for guidance and answers. It isn't always about facts and figures, more about how to live as a happy human being.
Yes, it's a big family. So that let me say that when you get, when you are called in the office and you have made a mistake, when you're coming from the office, you'll find like about 10 people waiting for you so that they can comfort you, ask you what have you been told, what are you going to do next. Maybe you have been told to go home because you have done something wrong. So they just have to comfort you and tell you, don't worry, what God have a purpose, and you feel encouraged, you don't feel discouraged. Yes.
Now she's settled here well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when she came, she was a bit withdrawn, and she used to look at people from very far, hiding. But now at least she's able to come out and share with the others. So that is the kind of thing I'm saying, when you see a child getting to know that there are people who are willing to help, and she have been helped, and there is hope, you feel like you are accomplishing your goal and you feel happy. It's hard, but with we do it trusting in God, because this is something that you can't do on your own. You have to have some guidance, maybe from our elders, and we put a lot of trust in God that we are going to handle them well. Yeah.
In the West, it's easy to replace a ripped shirt or tattered shoes. In Kenya, though, it's much harder. Shoes that should have been replaced years ago are sewn and taped back together, barely able to stay on their feet and providing little protection. The kids wear whatever clothing they can find. Most have one school uniform that they wear every day, regardless of what shape it is in. Everyone really seems to care for what they have. Shoes are washed and treated with utmost care. All the kids seem to have one piece of clothing they absolutely love. These clothes weren't new, and sometimes their fashion choices were questionable. But the children were happy just to have clothes on their back. I kept finding myself coming back to that term, happiness. Before the boxes came out and we started giving out supplies, I found that happiness was all around. It wasn't hiding anything, it wasn't a show. It wasn't that they were content as much as they were just happy to be alive. Of course they want more with their lives. It's basic human nature to want to improve one's circumstances. But these kids had an outlook that set a foundation that many Westerners look for in the self-help section of bookstores. Although they had that foundation, and they had people committed to building on that foundation, that doesn't negate the fact that they still need some basic help. We saw the evidence everywhere. All the things that you and I take for granted were in short supply here. We didn't have many answers when we came, but for the supplies, we had 10 boxes worth of answers. In those boxes, we had hundreds of pairs of shoes, school supplies, balls, toys, and jump ropes. We decided to hand out most of the supplies the same day, starting with the jump ropes. The jump ropes flew out of our hands. It was a flurry of play. The entire moment was absolute joy. The girls reveled in the chance to show off their skill, jumping faster and faster, then trading the rope with another kid who tried to jump even faster. I couldn't move more than a couple feet before feeling a fresh tug on my shirt, followed by a tiny voice asking me to film them next. The boys wasted no time in joining in the fun, and as such the footballs came out. We were surrounded by play, everyone laughing and smiling. The atmosphere was almost festive. Giving out the shoes was a bit more controlled, as Think Kindness had done this before. We sorted the shoes by size and lined the kids up by age. I watched the kids look over the shoes, pick the one they liked, and then conferred with their friends to see if the choice was fashionable. It was so interesting to watch. The kids had a choice, and with that, it was a chance to reflect their personality with their shoes. They were all just as picky as any kid I'd ever met at that point. Some tried their best to force their foot into shoes far too small for them, while others were convinced they would just grow into massive shoes over the next month or two. While the toys were for play, the shoes were to be cherished. When I looked around, I was puzzled why none of the kids were wearing their new shoes. It took a bit of prying, but I learned that most of the kids wanted to keep their shoes nice and clean. For most, it was their only nice possession.
Willing to give us something. You know, it's not most people they can like coming here, because there is other people like you, they come here Kenya, they enjoy seeing the features which are here in Kenya, but you come here, you talk with you, and you give us things, and you give us the good things, encouraging, and you show us to how to set the goals, so we can achieve about this year.
You are human beings, we know, but for the small ones, they think you are angels from.
Out of all the problems that these kids face, some of them are basic, simple needs. Clothes, shoes, food, and medical supplies. All these things that we take for granted can greatly improve the life of a child. We may not be able to fix the country, but we can help these children by providing the most basic of needs. We were giving them so much more than supplies. We were giving them a chance at happiness. When a child's worried about his shoes falling apart or not having clothes for school, his dreams and his future are jeopardized. I couldn't blame them. It's hard to be happy when your most basic human needs can't be met. That's when I learned the why of charities. When you take these fundamental worries and needs out of the equation, any person has the chance to pursue happiness. Charities weren't giving out supplies. They were giving out hope.
If we are not you, I could not be here. That the house there, I could not be here. Because one thing, you came, you leave something. That something buy the food, and the person who other come, leave the money to pay for my education. Because I respect you. Because from class 1, now I'm in Form 4. You see, that person who came here, he make me to be in Form 4.
We know there are many people that they have things, they have, those luxurious life, and they have all things that they need in their lives. But there are some in US that they struggle day and night so that to maintain me in this orphanage. And there are those who donate things so that I can be helped, like shoes, t-shirts, things like those. I'm much grateful, and I usually wonder, will I one day, one time, get something to give out, so like the way I'm being helped? So will I one time start earning and help others? That's the thing that they have taught me, and they have taught me to be loving. Because if at all they did not have love for us, they could not help us. But they have that heart of loving, and a kind heart and a kind mind, so that to help us. And that is the thing that I have learned from people from USA, that they are very generous, they are very loving, they are very caring. One of the most things that I try to do is like loving all people, sharing what I have with them, and being kind to everyone. And also another thing that I have learned from people from America, they are very honest. So I try as much as possible to be honest. Yes.
Yesterday we go to town, and Samuel, who's kind of our host, he had 100 shillings to his name, which is equivalent to about $1.30. And there was a street child who kept following us, and he knew him because Sam had been in that position. And he gave him his 100 shillings. And I said, Sam, what did you do that for? And I said, who was that? And he goes, well, he has no one. His mother left him, and he hasn't eaten in 3 days. And so I gave him my money because I know I'm going to eat. So that just kind of shows you the beauty of how people help each other. And I gave him 500 shillings, and I said, you spend this on Sam. Keep this for Sam. And he goes, I can't keep this for Sam if I know there's kids that are hungry. And he spent it all down on other children. And he says, I will buy them food and they will eat, but I won't give them money. But it just, it's kind of like casting that first stone into that pond and watching the ripple effect. And it's amazing. And I truly believe and think kindness, just one person does something nice for another person, and it does inspire kindness, and it's contagious. And I think that that's what we're here to do, and I think we've done it.
We didn't have an all-encompassing solution to the developing world's problems. I wish we did. I wish we could come in here and make all the problems disappear, but it doesn't work that way, and we knew that. The solutions are muddled and unclear, but through it all, we all knew in our hearts that investing in the futures of these kids were going to make a difference. Every child should grow up with the ability to shape his or her own future. With all the adversity they had faced, I couldn't blame them for giving up from time to time. Hope is a renewable resource, but still needs help from the outside to replenish itself.
Some are happy to be here, but there are some who come here. After sometimes they have to left. I don't know why. And when they go, they don't come back again.
There are some who do not cope. They come in and they want to go back to where they have been staying. And I feel that this is mostly because right from when they were very young, they were not used to some regulations, and trying to rehabilitate them to follow these regulations. was not easy, and so they opted to go back.
Yeah. Did the shoes really help the kids? They certainly seemed happy to have them. But how can I help prevent the next generation from facing the same problems as the current generation? At times, I got the impression we were providing a crutch when we really needed to help teach people how to walk. Driving through the towns, I kept seeing stalls filled with new goods donated by charities, being sold, creating an artificial market. Although we came to improve things, to a degree, it felt like we were just making the problem worse. Were we taking away from the community's ability to provide for itself? Did the donation of goods help hide the more serious flaws in a corrupt government? Somehow keeping the people from realizing the full extent of how bad things actually were?
You are maybe kind of demoralizing him, instead of showing him how to make it. And cause they will depend on you. But how if you show him how to make a living, they will be dependent on themselves. Because one day you will not come. It's like a child. He or she is given the food every day. But for example, like me, when my mom left, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know where to get food because we have been just being given. But if we were shown what to do, then it wouldn't be as bad. So the people who we lived with started to give us food. But when it comes to education, if the teacher just gives you the answers, it will be hard when it comes to an exam because you don't know how to answer. So it's kind of everything.
I think we just put our head in the sand and don't look outside our little box. We get so consumed in just what we see in front of us in our immediate life and our immediate family. Just like when you have the starving children of the world commercials come on, you change the channel because it hurts. You don't want to look at it. If you don't look at it, it's not there. And I think we get consumed in our own lives so much that we forget to look around and realize, one, how good we have it, and two, how much else is going on in this world that we don't even let ourselves see.
It is not possible to help everyone. Of course, even at this time, there are very many out there who would want to come in, who would need the help that we are offering here. But we cannot accommodate all of them. One, the resources are few, and although we have the facility to keep them, we cannot afford to do that. Yes.
Children dream. They dream of being older, wiser, and having a place in this world. They dream of being happy and healthy, and they dream of a brighter future. It's natural. It's what kids are supposed to do. Dreams fuel action, and a drive fueled by a dream is less likely to fail. The kids at Tumaini are no different than any other kids in the world. They dream of making a better life for themselves, and every day they make an effort to get just a little bit closer to realizing that dream. The adversity they've faced in their short lives is more fuel for the fire, more of a reason to do better, to be better.
I want to do law. Children law. Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
Huh?
How?
I hope that, and I pray God that I get into college I get another scholarship for a college in US, which is highly unlikely, but I just hope that I will, and that's what I'm gonna do.
I usually say that I decide when choosing the subjects, but I usually admire taking medicine to become an ophthalmologist or a cardiologist. Or I take history to become a lawyer.
If I pursue well in Form 4 for the coming exam, and I'll get a good grade, I'll join the campus, the university that I want, so that I can pursue medicine or a business course. when I'm in school, I'm just given some responsibility to be leading the students, and such it came to me like a dream, like I can lead an organization, a company, or manage a business.
Yeah, I would like to go somewhere bigger. That's like university in Cambridge, Oxford University, or Ohio State University. Yeah.
For me, I like it to achieve many things, because I keep loving the children who don't have the power. So for me, there is one thing I ask God: if God will open for me doors and I become an important person, I will be able to take another child who was like me, and take care about him or her. I can even pay for her education, like my child. Yeah.
I admired the kids. They had been through so much and had yet remained so strong. They were so incredibly giving, to the point that Sam was willing to give me his belt when I had misplaced mine. Hez and Sam are role models for the younger kids. To get to Tumaini, most of them had to survive tough and terrible situations. They are all survivors. Hez and Sam, like most of the older kids at Tumaini, are evidence that each child that comes through this place has a chance of becoming somebody great.
You know, when you see a kid smile, it's genuine. So making a kid happy is one of the goals I have, because I wasn't so happy before I came to Tumaini. So they call me Smiley here because I smile all the time, but I wasn't happy. Yeah, so making a kid smile, it's because the child now has a different attitude towards, maybe she was sad, but when she smiles, that's a simple thing they can do. Don't have to laugh, they can laugh, but smiling, it shows that they have changed their attitude, and the kid just love it.
Well, I have a brother, but my brother, I don't know him. I had a brother.
He's gone.
No, he's
Well, he's
not
still
gone.
here, but you don't know.
He's still in this country, but I don't know the port where he is. That is all. But I had the twins. One was the girl and the other boy, but they died. Okay, those are the problems which I go facing like this. So after my future, when I can become an important person, I have my money, I can be able to fight my brother.
Childhood dreams are beautiful, and these kids are driven. But, statistically, the country that these kids call home will throw every roadblock in their way to ensure that these kids don't succeed.
I think it has to come from the heart of the leaders, because the leaders are the ones which make Kenyans just go mad. Let's phrase it that way, because there is a lot of corruption in Kenya, which oppresses the poor people, because they have to pay taxes, and so as they progress, we as the peasants, we are like, right now the MPs have raised their salary to 1.2 million, and we can't afford to pay all of them. The treasury, they say they can't afford, but the MPs, they say they have to. So you see, that's a problem that we have. And that makes us, if you can't appeal for taxes, you put you in a bad spot where you have to hustle, and that's why there's a lot of just robbery of banks and stuff in Kenya. And because they have to go through that. That's why you see they bribe people like policemen. Because if you don't bribe them, then that means your children will go to bed hungry, no food. Because maybe you're doing something illegal just to get maybe 50 shillings.
Yeah.
For something little for the kid. So
Yeah,
that's
for
why,
just 50 shillings too.
yeah. So that's why Kenya we have where most of the people do things illegally, because getting something legally you have to pay lots and lots.
In 2009, Uwezo Kenya assessed the literacy and numerical skills of children 6 to 16 in the state of Kenya. What they found was not good. Literacy levels are low all across the board. 5% of children do not go to school. In the early 1970s, fees for primary schools were abolished, but a decade later they were reintroduced. Children who could not pay were forced to drop out. In the 21st century, the same problems are echoed. Funding is fluid and unpredictable, with teachers striking often due to irregular payment. Teachers are in short supply, with an average of 4 teachers per school. Tuition often goes to exam preparation and drills rather than the schools themselves. With a per capita average income of $1,600 and more than half of the country living below the poverty line, it is no surprise that funding is a major issue in sending a child to school.
Funding, let me say, it's a challenge because we don't have a donor as such. We rely on well wishers, local and outside the country. Our main well wishers or donors are based in the United States. And of course, with the world economic crisis that was there last year and this year, we have also felt the pinch.
It's very tight.
It's very, it's very tight for us.
But the biggest part here is just like any nonprofit, like my organization, is finding the people that feel blessed enough to give. You know, because obviously Tumaini wouldn't exist unless people donated, right? And so that's the constant battle, is finding the organizations and individuals that see what's going on here and feel compelled to donate.
This turmoil echoes down to the students themselves, who struggle to graduate high school and somehow get into a university, which for an orphan is extremely challenging with no government aid or family to turn to. These kids can either try to pay for university themselves or search for outside assistance.
You see, some things when you ask yourself, because I heard that I have many relatives, but I've stayed here 11 years. I've never seen one of them coming here. To say that you have the person here, you have come to visit. But you see, all of you came from your country, all over the year, but you came and visit me and the others. I appreciate on that. And I say, God bless you.
We as people, we try and raise our voices, but we try that mainly peacefully by maybe demonstrations and stuff. But they just say it's not peaceful and they bring the police, and so we as the people, I don't think there's another way we can go by that, so we live by that day by day. Like the people who tried to demonstrate about the MP's salary, and they were beaten very harshly by the police.
A number of the kids I've met are smart, amazingly so. The more I talk to them, the more I think they could find a working answer to Kenya's problems. I keep thinking that if somehow, some way, I could help send them to college, help them build the tools to lead, maybe they could change the entire country from the inside. What was more astounding was that, with all the roadblocks that stood in their way, they still managed to smile. It kept coming back to happiness. How are these kids so happy under such insurmountable odds? I started to think about all the hardships and curveballs that life was throwing their way. Through all the turmoil and uncertainty, they were still here, they were still alive, and they were moving forward.
Because it's past and I'm past that point, because I passed it, I say it was the will of God. Because there's a chance if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't be in a place like here where I would see children every day.
I think if it were any other person looking into the situation, you would at first think that it could be a coping mechanism. But I think once you've been here and you've lived it and you've seen these kids and you've talked with them, you've had heartfelt discussions with them, that it's not a coping device. Yeah. These kids are generally happy.
They're kids still, just learning about the world, unsure of the wonders that it holds for them. We were all there at one point, and I was rediscovering that feeling when I was around these kids. They live in such a harsh reality, and they need someone to take stake in their future. They need somebody to push them to do better than their predecessors, to educate and make a better life for themselves. To a degree, that duty fell on us, and the kids of Tumaini were responding to that human investment.
This is because, like when you visit us, you know, we are used to, sometimes you see this place like it's a hut place, because from those people you are being brought up with, maybe they are, let's say, like our manager. You just see, like, when you go to that office, maybe you have done a mistake, you move like you will cry, or you're like mad because of the things you have been told. So when you come and then we see people that you can joke with, we feel relaxed, and then we see that we are much loved, and more people care about us, and that's why makes people to be fun. And when you come and introduce something new, they just enjoy it, and then they have to concentrate on it, and they'll know that, and they feel that they're being loved, and so they don't have to worry about those things that are past.
Like when Mr. Kelly he came, I didn't want to do anything because I was from the exam. But at the time I saw him, I like visitors, I became very happy. Because, one thing I see like is my father who have come to visit me. Yeah, I like visitors.
Just to know someone cared enough to travel 6,000 miles, to travel 2 or 3 days, to give them something, to see their smiles, to follow through with a promise. Those are life skills we're teaching them. Whether we realize it or not, we're impacting their lives significantly. There's people that have done things in our lives that to them they probably don't even remember, but they're so significant to you, whether it be a teacher that just took that extra time to help you out, or whoever it may be that somehow touched your life and you will forever remember them. That's what we're doing. We're leaving these footprints for these children, and they're going to remember us forever. And the more times that we can keep our promise, the more faith they're going to have.
Criticism over money and efficiency in a charity is what concerns us most in the West. Dollar amounts and numbers are what determine a successful charity, rather than the investment in humanity itself. There is nothing wrong with questioning the decision to fly 11 people to Kenya to deliver boxes of shoes. For the price of the plane tickets alone, you could send twice as many supplies, and have the matrons distribute them to the children as they see fit. And, as a charity, this would make much more sense financially. More supplies would make it to the children, and from a charitable donation standpoint, the mission would be more successful. Charities can write in their reports that they sent 30 boxes of supplies rather than 15, and on paper, they would appear much more desirable to donors.
I don't think there's one answer for it. I think that, yes, the money that was spent to get airfare to come over here could have been used to help them, but I believe that just simply by keeping a promise that we made to them that we will return is huge. There's so many people that come in and out of these orphanages that promise they're going to come back and they never do. There's no validity. So these children, when they say goodbye and you tell them you're going to see them again, they hold that very, very, very deeply, and they're very deeply hurt when it doesn't happen again. So to hold true to that promise, that shows the validity of it. And we may not realize it, but we bring them hope. We bring them strength. We help show them how amazing they are. You know, there's a handful of kids that in less than a year are in university now, and they weren't. They were scared to death when we were here last time. So who is this trip for? I think it's a win-win situation. I think that there's so many things that they need to learn from us, especially when it comes to like business sense and management and infrastructure. I think those sides, America does have an advantage too, and that these people truly can benefit from that kind of higher education. And then there's a tremendous amount that we can benefit from them about life and about happiness and about faith.
Because when I have a problem, or I have lost a hope, I will go to him or her, show her, this is my problem, this, and then you show me the way to overcome that thing. Like Mr. Kennedy, sometimes he told me, go and study. So he's trying to show me that the education will make me an important person to able to overcome this problem in this earth that will be given by God.
I could give a box that could clothe a dozen children, but it cannot provide a mentor. It cannot provide a friend. That's what we were doing here. Each one of us on the team knew this in our hearts. Real, sincere human connections are what remind a child that they aren't forgotten, that they are special. I saw it in their eyes that just the act of us being there with them made them feel wanted and unique. That's what inspired 11 people to fundraise for months to fly 10,000 miles to an unfamiliar country and be on the ground with kids they didn't know.
That's why I'm doing that. It's about life. It's about human beings. It's about trying to be a human being. For me, I come last. Everybody else comes first. And that's, I'll do it till, whenever. I'll keep doing it. And the day I die, I'll still continue to do it. So.
Yeah, there are some students who they're just about to graduate from the university and they are working now. So whenever I go, like there's one working in town in a bank, whenever I go there and just greeting him and seeing the happiness he has, I feel so happy and I feel that something has been accomplished. Every time I go there, he refers me by the name Mother. How are you, Mother? So I feel I've done my best for that child.
There is hope. Tumaini isn't just a place, it's the people. The people here held lessons for all of us. The children, the matrons, the teachers, everyone had something to teach us. We came with our own questions and insecurities and left Tumaini with even more questions. However, we learned a lot about happiness.
I think knowing that these children have gone through the things that they've gone through in their life, in their little lives, and we as adults have probably not even touched the surface, or will in our entire life, the kind of trauma and dramatic things that have happened to these kids. And they still have a reason to smile. I mean, you walk around and all you hear is laughing and singing and smiling. And
you just look at the past and you realize, I don't want something like that to ever happen again, but that's what I do. And I say I want to make my future better and for my kids to make them better. So that's
a good way to go.
Yeah.
What makes me happy is when somebody you've never known in your lifetime walk by you and say hello and say hi and smile. Or sit down, you're sitting in a bus 6,000 miles away from home and you're talking to this individual that you'll never ever see in your life again, ever. And you want to leave that footprint, that positive footprint. Like, I met this guy on the bus. And it's the same thing for me. That makes me happy. To communicate with people that you've never met before and to leave and part with so much positiveness and so much just being humble and grateful with a perfect stranger and you sharing your stories of life. That makes me happy.
I think Kenya has a bright future hidden in the lives of these children. But that future will surely fail to come to fruition if we don't find a better way to help. Shoes and clothes fall apart over time. An education doesn't. Investing in a child's future doesn't. These children are the key to making Kenya sustainable, and they need all the help that they can get. It's easy to say that the problems are too big for one person or one idea to make a difference. However, throughout all time, small groups of people with new ideas have been the driving force for serious long-term change. As you sit here watching this documentary, people are making a difference and looking at sustainable methods into solving the key problems that plague Kenya and the rest of Africa. Most of these organizations started as an idea in someone's head, and that's someone taking the first step to do something about it. Someone else proceeded to take a step with them and lend a hand, and it grows from there. Great things can happen, and it takes just a little effort and dedication to get it started. Kenya's future is up for grabs, and we have the power to help these children seize it for future generations of prosperity. Charities alone will not make the problems these kids face go away. Human kindness and an investment in their future may give them the strength to overcome the obstacles in their path to prosperity. All they want is the opportunity, for the first time in their lives, to shape their own destiny. The roots of happiness are already here. They just need somewhere to grow.
But I will try and my best and use all my talents and see what will come out of me.
Yeah.
Something could happen.
We all need a little blue sky to breathe. All we see is the edge of the breeze, and I want to believe we can change this short story.